What's going on? It's the ScotianCanadien, and with the NHL Rookie Showcase fast approaching, here's a quick review of the Montreal Canadiens prospect pool. Now I'm going to start with my personal top 5, and it's going to be a bit different than some of the other lists you may have seen on the internet. And that's because part of my decisions were based on players who could help Montreal as soon as this upcoming season. So for my number 5 spot, I've reserved it for a player who could be this year's Victor Mete. And by that, I mean a prospect who is not on many people's radars that could have a great training camp and steal a spot on the Montreal Canadiens roster. So for me, that guy is defenseman Cale Fleury, even though it's a long shot. Cale Fleury is a tenacious defender who does not give his opponents much time to make a decision when he's defending the rush. He's also known for laying heavy hits after his opponents cross the blue line. This is something the Habs were lacking last year after the loss of Alexei Emelin, and especially once Weber was out for the season. Due to these qualities, Cale Fleury is great at retrieving pucks and gaining possession. He's also a great breakout passer, something else the Habs were lacking on their blue line last year. In the offensive zone, he's not a player who relies on skill or puck possession. He's more so a player who can find the net with a quick wrister or a teammate with a quick pass. He was drafted in round 3 of the 2017 draft. He's a right-handed defenseman that's listed at 6'1", 200 pounds. He has the size to play in the show, and the right-handed part is what is important. With Shea Weber out until what could be late December, the Habs' depth on their right side defense all shifts up a spot. So that means there could be an opening on the Habs' bottom pair for a guy like Cale Fleury. Now, in my opinion, that bottom pair spot on the right side will likely be filled with veteran Jordie Benn, because coaching staff will likely want that veteran presence in their decor when they will have what is already 3 inexperienced defensemen in there, with Riley, Mete, and Juleson. However, all it will take is a great camp from Cale Fleury and a poor camp from a guy like Xavier Ouellet, and that would put Brett Lernout or Cale Fleury in line for a spot on the Montreal Canadiens. Now, all that said, a more realistic expectation for Cale Fleury is to start the season in Laval and be a possible call-up option for the Habs later in the season. This is the more responsible thing to do for young players, especially defensemen, because they will need time to adjust once they make the jump to the next competition level, which is likely what Cale Fleury will be doing heading into this season, because he's already played at the highest level possible in junior. Last season, he played for host Regina Pats in the Memorial Cup, making it to the final, but ultimately losing to the Acadie Bathurst Titans. The Canadiens' first-round pick from the 2017 draft, center Ryan Poehling, is number 4 on my list. Now, this may surprise some people because technically he is Montreal's second-best prospect. But like I said previously, I put a heavy focus on this list for players who could potentially help Montreal coming into this season. Poehling has already committed to St. Cloud University for this season, so he will not play for the Habs at all this year, including in the upcoming Rookie Showcase. However, he is still one of Montreal's best prospects regardless. Ryan Poehling centered St. Cloud University's top line last season, and he will again this season. It's likely he'll be one of the NCAA's best players. He'll also start the World Junior Championships in late December, early January as the United States' first-line center. Poehling is listed at 6'2", 200 pounds. He's a two-way center that is praised for his play away from the puck defensively. He forces his opponents into making bad decisions by not allowing them time and space with the puck due to his defensive positioning and stick work. When he retrieves pucks, he's quick to transition the play the other way. He also has some very impressive stick handling, playmaking ability, and vision with the puck. When he's in the offensive zone, he's constantly moving his feet, looking for open areas and passing lanes. His offensive skill has been quite impressive at the NCAA level, but the question remains, will he be able to transition that skill into the NHL? At the very least, he's expected to become a bottom 6, two-way defensive center, but he does have the ceiling and potential to become a top 6 center in the NHL, as long as his development continues to go smoothly and he can utilize his skills at the NHL level. The Montreal Canadiens scouts and management are very high on Ryan Poehling. They're hopeful he can become part of a 1-2 punch for the Habs down the middle in the future. Habs' first-round pick from the 2015 draft, Noah Juleson, makes number 3 on my list, and that is because he could have a big impact on the Montreal Canadiens this season. He's currently listed at 6'2", 175 pounds, and is known for his reliable defensive ability. He's strong on the puck, great at shutting down plays on the rush, and often winning one-on-one battles defensively. His season last year began with a foot injury and he didn't start playing until late November, but once he joined the Laval Rocket, he quickly became one of their best defenders, playing in key situations. He also has some untapped offensive ability. He's patient with the puck, making smart decisions on his first passes starting the breakout. And once the ozone is gained, he has a lethal shot that can be used as a threat, especially on the power play. With Shea Weber out, as long as Noah Juulsen has a strong camp, I can see him being given a very important role with the Montreal Canadiens and becoming a respectable top 4 defenseman for them this season. And if he can fill that role fairly consistently night in and night out, that'll make the first few months of the season a lot less tiresome on Carey Price. Number 2 on my list, Nikita Scherbak. He was drafted in the first round of the 2014 draft, and he's faced a bit of adversity with his development up until now. He's had a few different long-term injuries, including last year when it seemed like he had finally found a spot for himself on the Montreal Canadiens roster, only to be out with a long-term injury a couple days later. But once he returned from that injury, he absolutely lit up the AHL for the Laval Rocket and earned another call-up with the Montreal Canadiens, where he showed some very impressive skill and finishing ability at the NHL level at the end of the season for Montreal. He's listed at 6'2", 192 pounds. He's a big fella with a very powerful stride, which he uses to power past defenders with just a couple pushes. He's also a great playmaker with a set of impressive hands. In one-on-one situations, something Scherbak likes to do is put the puck into an open area that he can reach quickly, but his opponent can't. He's been able to do this at the AHL level and the NHL level, which is quite promising. The key for Scherbak this coming season is to find consistency and remain healthy. I'm hopeful that he can start the season in the Montreal Canadiens' top 6, possibly playing alongside Pacioretty. I think Scherbak's playmaking ability could complement Pacioretty's great shot. Coming into this season, the Habs have a long list of players with severe breakout potential to varying degrees. Nikita Scherbak is near the top of my list for players who could explode offensively. That list also includes Jonathan Drouin, Max Domi, and Arturi Lehkonen. Habs' 3rd overall pick from the most recent draft, Finnish center Jesperi Kotkaniemi, makes number 1 on my list of Habs prospects. 1, because he's clearly their best prospect, and 2, because there's still a very slight chance he could make the Habs roster this season. Definitely keep your eye on this player in the NHL Rookie Showcase and in preseason. He's highly skilled offensively. He's a very deceptive playmaker. He's got a great shot and great size, which he is willing to use in puck battles. He's listed at 6'2", 190 pounds at just 18 years old. Some scouts have compared him to Anze Kopitar and Alexander Barkov because of his high offensive skill, but also because he's very respectable defensively. It seems he's always ahead of the play, and when he retrieves pucks, he's quick to transition the play the other way. He has potential to become a top 6 center in the NHL, with his ceiling being a true number 1 center, something the Habs have been looking for a very long time. Like I said previously, there's a small chance he could make the Habs roster as soon as this season, but I would say that is quite unlikely. But still keep a close eye on him in the NHL Rookie Showcase and in preseason, and get very hyped, because this is a very strong player with elite potential. The best thing for Kotka to do is to go back to Europe and center the first line of his pro team, which is in the top Finnish league, and then start the World Juniors for Finland, likely as their first line center. It's going to be a very exciting and important development year for the Habs' best prospect, Jesperi Kotkaniemi. Here's a quick look at the rest of the Montreal Canadiens prospect pool. At this upcoming NHL Rookie Showcase, a few more players to keep a close eye on are centers Jake Evans and Luca Veidemu. Both will be making their pro debuts, likely for Laval, after coming off strong seasons for their development teams. As well as Will Bitton, who models his game after Brendan Gallagher. And 2 recent draft picks and highly skilled playmakers, Cam Hillis and Alan McShane. A few defensemen to keep an eye on are Josh Brook, an offensive defenseman, and previously mentioned Cale Fleury, as well as dark horses to make the Montreal Canadiens, Czechs David Sklenika and Michael Morvisic. The Habs prospects will play Friday, September 7th versus the Senators prospects. And then they'll again play on Sunday, September 9th versus the Leafs prospects. You can follow me at ScotianCanadien. And of course, if you like my videos, please subscribe. We are so close to hockey. Let's get hyped. Go Habs, go, baby. Woo!